should have Googled this.
Welcome everyone to Kobe's Planet, a new sports media show streamed live through Knoxstrom Digital Media. We're here today with a great panel of guests. We're going to be talking NBL basketball, the Windsor Express, NBA basketball, and a little fantasy sports. So before I get started, I'd like to introduce you to my panel of guests here. My friend, good friend of mine here, Kevin Lauzon, former amateur boxer, great sports mind, somebody I watch and talk sports with all the time. Recently had a child, and tell us about being a father and how that's changed you and what that experience has been like.
Well, the experience, Mitch, is it's unbelievable. It's humbling. It's pretty much everything you would expect it to be. You know what I mean? You have to be more responsible, more. You get a little less sports, but a lot more love, right?
Yeah. Awesome. Next up, JMO. He's a barber at the barber shop. I think Windsor's got maybe tier 1 barbers, or about 4 guys. He's definitely in that top tier. He is my barber. How are you doing, JMO?
I'm doing good.
And you're working at the barber shop located on Wyandotte Street. What can customers expect when they come see you for a haircut?
Good haircuits, good environment, best product in the city.
I would agree with that. Pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Last but not least, we have a professional basketball player with us today, Windsor Express, RJ Wells, also from Windsor, graduated from Herman High School. Welcome, RJ.
Nice to be here, man.
Awesome. Okay, so we're going to get started talking a little Express basketball. Last year we had a lot of success in the city. The team came back from a 3-1 deficit in the finals, really produced. The city really got behind the team at the end there in the playoffs, and here we are moving into the next leg of the NBL, the story of the NBL being in Canada. We have our own professional basketball league, pretty awesome. Kevin, you went to a game. What was the atmosphere like in the playoffs, and what do you think?
Well, I'd like to say that first of all, you know what I mean. The city started to rally more towards the end of the season,
right,
more towards the playoffs. They started to really rally behind the team. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much what the team needs. They need more local support and maybe a little municipal help. You know
Agreed.
what I mean?
Agreed.
So that's just.
Yeah, I would agree with that. The attendance wasn't too bad during the regular season. It really picked up in the playoffs once the team started to win. I see it as being an environment that's good for kids, family fun, certainly affordable. We're really hoping that next year after this championship, the fans come out during the regular season more and support this team. JMO, you came out to a few playoff games. You've been following a little bit. What do you think about the Express being in Windsor, the TV deal, being sports, possibly coming to 7 million homes, having the satellite deal? Does that help the league and propel it even further into the mainstream for certainly Canadian sports?
Yeah, I think it's huge. I think it's great for the city. It's another thing to do for people to bring their family. For my experiences going to the game, I mean, the atmosphere was. It was good. It was. You can tell. Like I've been to Raptors games before,
right,
and in the environment, there's not as many people, so I think they could do more for, as far as investment, sacrificing to get people there. Like I like the complimentary ticket idea. I think for the most part, it's a good environment. I enjoyed it a lot. I think it's great for the city. Definitely.
All right, agreed. RJ.
Yeah.
I noticed being up in the booth, every time you came out and got your minutes, you usually scored, and the fans really kind of stood up. They know you're from Windsor. You had a lot of support locally from the crowd and from the fans. How did that make you feel every time you hit the floor, having that kind of support behind you?
It felt good, man, to represent for my city first and foremost. And, when you get out there, you want to do good. I didn't have very many opportunities last year, being to be my first year, but definitely this year I'm going to try to make a little bit more noise during the season.
Awesome. And do you look for an increase in minutes? Do you know your role going forward? You've obviously probably been working hard in the off season. Where do you see yourself, or can you envision that going forward to the upcoming season?
Yeah, I worked real hard this off season and getting ready for the season, both on the court and off the court. So my role, basically, I'm looking to just, put up more shots, get more minutes, and get more opportunities to show everybody what I can do.
Okay, so the next question is kind of open to the panel. Here we are in Canada. We've got a professional basketball league, which is pretty awesome. The league's growing, it's getting better. I see quality play, throughout the regular season and playoffs. It's really kind of cool that Canada has its own league, something kind of to call our own. Do you guys think that there's strength in this going forward to really blossom and explode and become something that's regularly talked about, everyone knows about, and do you guys think that Canada will support this league going forward to grow?
I think as far as if you watch the media, Mitch, that Canadian basketball has really skyrocketed. You're looking at, we're getting first round picks now coming out of Canada.
Yeah.
Even at the NBL level, the quality of play is excellent. Excellent players that are coming out, great product coming out of Canada right now, and I think that Canada basketball is definitely making a push.
Awesome.
I agree. I think it, for the most part, is great. You got a lot of young kids playing basketball now, getting drafted in the NBA. I think that alone, it says a lot for the country and the kids. You know what I mean? For the most part, seeing that, having basketball dreams and, as it grows and as people get to see it on TV again, like you said, with the television contract and things like that, it's going to help it a lot, and I think it's great for the country, definitely.
RJ, being a player, you've kind of got like an inside view on the growth of the league and everything that's going on. Do you see the NBL moving in the right direction based on coming forward from last year?
Yeah, I think it is going in the right direction. I mean, Canada's always been 5-10 years behind the United States, and I think, like they said, with kids coming out of Canada making it to the NBA, and kids from even Windsor making, just like me, making it on this team, it shows the kids, the youth, that they can do it themselves. So when I grew up and I said I want to be a professional basketball player, people laughed at me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Look what happened. So it shows the kids that they can actually achieve their goals.
Yeah, that's a good point, looking at other people wanting to accomplish the dream that you did, and congratulations on being able to fulfill that. Pretty awesome.
You're really just the support away from it being as big as, the CFL, technically, right? Like, it's an actual professional league in the country, and that's huge. You know what I mean? It says a lot.
It does. So we'll talk a little bit about venue. We did do a game at the casino. We're kind of locked in now. I don't know the exact details of the deal at the WFCU Center. They were looking at, I think, 50% of concessions and a decent rate. The Express struggled with rent a little bit last year. They got behind. They ended up sorting that out. What do you guys see in terms of the venue itself? I personally do like the WFCU Center. It is a little bit far in the East End. Maybe, I was even thinking to go to City Council and try and propose a bus from maybe downtown Bus Center to the WFCU Center to bring kids out and stuff like that. But for now, what do you guys think of the WFCU Center?
I feel that transportation is definitely a problem right now. I like the WFCU Center. It's a new facility. It's state-of-the-art facility. I did prefer last year they had a game at the casino. I thought that it was a more personal venue and I had no problem filling the amount of seats in there.
Yeah.
So my problem being with the WFCU is just it's big, so we just need that more support.
That's
and that
right.
like you said, transportation alone would help cover that.
Yeah, agreed. JMO, what do you think about our current venue?
The venue's good. I mean, it's big. I mean, again, like I said, I've been to Raptors games, and when I walk in the arena, you get the same feeling that you're actually at a good event. It's a nice venue. As far as the politics of where it should have been, I mean, I don't necessarily know if I agree, but it is where it is, and I think that transportation from downtown, even getting into, getting high school teams, basketball teams, different like the kids, like the little league basketball teams to get out there and like all that stuff, and I liked it because even being at the game, like I said, I enjoyed it, and I wish it was downtown.
I agree. The WFCU Center is home. They have signed some sort of deal, so we will accept that and work with it. They do a lot of things inside the city to support different kids groups. I asked for tickets for a group of kids to come from Herman. They handed them to me, no questions asked. So there's no doubt that the Express are out here really supporting the community, and I just hope that we continue to support them in turn. So I'm going to switch the focus a little bit, RJ, and ask you a couple roster-related questions. We know that Darren Duncan is no longer a Windsor Express player. He led the team in assists and steals. He was dynamite, absolute floor general. I loved watching him play. Unfortunately, he's gone. a little bit bittersweet. He's going to play pro ball in France. We also lost Buckley, who is a great perimeter defender. I see sort of a hole in the backcourt there with the point guard position, and Stephane Bonneau being unsigned right now. So tell us, like, how do you think we're going to fill that, and is that going to be a problem going forward, or is it going to change the landscape of the team?
Not really. I mean, our next motto last year was next man up. So
Yep.
we basically got guys to fill in those shoes. We just signed Ryan Anderson. We got Gary Gibson coming in. We have the rights to Ryan Anderson, so I don't know what's going to happen with that. But myself, I can play the one or the two. Or we got guys to step up. So we'll see in training camp what happens, and whoever earns the spots, I'm sure they'll be ready to take that void.
I like that attitude, and Ryan Anderson, ability to stretch the floor, big man that can shoot the three, and he's also a good rebounder. So George Good, talk a little bit about him. He came in late, and he filled the role off the bench. He was a great player for the Express, fundamental basketball. What did you see from him, and what do you think for him going
George
forward?
Good, he came in, he helped us tremendously on the defensive side of the court. He was a great shot blocker, so he held down the paint for us last year, and he is key to our success in the championship run we had.
Awesome. Okay, we're going to switch the focus now, and we're going to talk about the NBA. Most conversations today start with LeBron James. I would like to talk about something else, but I am going to talk about that. He recently made the move back to Cleveland, and Minnesota got a whole lot better as well, but kind of a big trade there. So with that going forward, what do you see from the Cavs, and do you think that this team is an instant contender?
I got to say no, Mitch. I don't think that. I like Chicago in the East. I don't think the Cavs are just like with Miami. It's going to take them at least that year to start to gel,
Yep.
right? And I think they're going to have a big problem with rim defense. I don't think Kevin Love, mind you, great rebounder, gets great position, but he just doesn't have that speed and that intensity to, really protect the rim when a guy like Russell Westbrook will cut in, or you know what I mean, or a fast guard that likes to take it to the hoop. I just don't feel they have that rim defense. I think they're going to be exposed there.
I would agree with that statement. There's definitely probably going to be some holes. Miami, the original team there, when LeBron went over, they kind of threw a team together and became an instant contender. That doesn't always happen. We know that typically when you just mash guys together, even if they're excellent players, all-stars, there's time and that it takes to build a rhythm and cohesiveness between the players and become like a gelled unit. So I'm not sure. I think they're going to contend in the East. I also like Chicago. They made some huge moves in the offseason, although Derrick Rose's health will depend on how far they go. Jimmy Butler is a guy that shines when the light's off of him. He didn't play as well when Rose was down, but when Rose is in, Butler is certainly a guy that can produce off the bench. JMO, what do you think about Cleveland going forward?
Personally, I mean, I disagree completely. I think that, when LeBron was 22 years old, he went to the finals. And, and that was with a young team. That was with a team that he immediately made Cleveland better. He's a guy that doesn't need a coach, and the way I see it is that you take a 22-year-old LeBron who goes strictly off of momentum. Playing in Cleveland, it was crazy playing in Cleveland them times, right? So now when you take a 29-year-old veteran and you go back with 2 championships back to Cleveland, they might go undefeated at home, as far as I'm concerned. You know what I mean?
I believe he lost that first final, though, right?
No, he did lose it, but he was 22. But you're going back a champion, and now at this point, you're going in there with a couple vet shooters. I mean, the way they're going to spread the floor now with Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, you got to remember Dwayne Wade and Chris Bosh shot collectively 29% from the three together. On the other hand, now this big three, the two of Kevin Love and Kyrie Irving, they shoot combined 37% from the three. So the floor is going to be spread, and you got a veteran LeBron. The crowd's going to go crazy when they're back. I can't wait to watch the first game. I mean, they're going to carry that through the season, and he might even win a championship.
It's certainly going to be exciting for sure. Definitely some question marks, though. I'm not ready to sign off that they're going to necessarily win.
You're a LeBron hater.
But
I got to put that on air.
But I do think that they will probably see the East Finals based on the strength of the East and based on player personnel. They've also signed some other key guys, Sean Marion, I think Ray Allen's going to sign soon.
Mike Miller.
A lot
James
of
Jones.
a lot of three balls to be jacked up here in Cleveland.
Did they get Chauncey Billups too?
Chauncey Billups is not signed yet.
No, he didn't.
They're thinking about it.
RJ, what do you think about Cleveland going forward?
I think they have the best starting five in the league. My concern is how their bench will play. I think they're top 1, 2 in the East based on the strength of the Eastern Conference, but my question mark is their bench going to be better than Chicago's bench or anyone else's bench even when you get to past the Eastern Conference into the Western Conference. They got deep benches and deep teams, so the bench has to actually come in there and produce.
I like what you said there because typically when you look at any championship NBA team, there's got to be players coming off the bench to produce.
1 through 5,
regardless of how good your starting five is. That is definitely key. JMO, you're going to say something?
No, I was just going to say, for the most part, they're a deep team. I mean, you got Sean Marion, you got James Jones, Mike Miller, LeBron James, Kyrie Irving, Kevin Love. You got the younger guy, Dion Waiters there. And the thing is with momentum alone, I mean, defense, definitely when you're playing throughout a season and your defense is lacking, where I disagree that their defense is going to be bad is the fact that you play it with heart, right?
Anderson Varejao.
They got
He's a good
Varejao,
defensive player.
but you play defense with heart, right? And now that Kevin Love already got labeled before the season starts for his lack of defense, that's something that's brought to his attention. And like I said, it's all heart and momentum. You got to play with heart when you play D, and I think that they're going to have that immediately. They're going to gel right away. I believe that.
Okay, so Chicago coming back with McDermott, Gasol, and I think Pekovic, right? Like these are three excellent players. Rose coming back. I do see that as probably being realistically without injury. You're probably your top teams in the Eastern Conference. We know Indiana took some big hits. They lost Lance. They lost Paul George. And Roy Hibbert really took a slide last year. So I think out of the East, it's probably going to be either Chicago or Cleveland.
I wouldn't sleep on the Knicks either. I wouldn't sleep on the Knicks. You can never sleep on
Derek
the Knicks.
Fisher?
They haven't been performing to the higher echelon of the Knicks, like what the Knicks are expected to do. Because look at the venue; it's win or lose, win or you're nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But I feel like Carmelo losing that weight. He worked really hard this offseason. I feel the Knicks.
Phil Jackson's huge.
The Knicks are no one to sleep on.
What about Carmelo saying, going outright saying he doesn't care about the money, but then waiting and taking the absolute maximum money and leaving nothing on the table for any of the other free agents? So New York, although they have some solid players, I like Shumpert. Hardaway is showing up now. He's a young guy that's a good player, obviously. Carmelo, they have some pieces. But what do you think about Carmelo's leadership, not bringing in any other players and taking the most money he could based on what he had said?
I feel he would have got a max contract anywhere he went. I don't think it was a matter of is he going to get the max contract. He's going to get the max contract. I think it was a matter he wanted to be in New York. New York was home. He just wanted to weigh his options. He was going to get the max contract regardless of where he went.
And you know what? Some of these guys take heat when they leave. It's like, oh, you're taking off on your franchise. When you stay, you're being greedy. So I do like the fact Carmelo stayed. He's an excellent player.
Hometown.
And I think he's working hard. And you know what? I'd like to see him with the ring eventually throughout his career. So we're going to switch the focus now. We got about 5 minutes left. We're going to do a little fantasy football talk. I have my draft tomorrow night. And I was going to give you guys some real gems, sleepers, but Cody Mendler called me and said, well, you're going to give up your players and I'm going to be watching. And he's the kind of guy that would absolutely snake my picks. So I'm going to give you a couple guys. And first I'm going to start at the tight end spot. That's a place that you can really wait if you don't get Jimmy Graham or Jordan Cameron, who I don't know if he's going to be second. That's a spot you can wait on the tight end. And the New England Patriots recently traded for Tim Wright. He's a guy that had 500 yards, 5 touchdowns on a horrendous Buccaneers offense last year. He now goes into the New England offense with Tom Brady. They said he can kind of refill Aaron Hernandez's shoes, not as a psychopathic murderer, but as a pass-catching tight end with an awesome quarterback. So don't sleep on Tim Wright. If he's a guy that's there late, pick him up. And the second one I'm going to give you...
Who did they just lose? Who did they just lose, the Patriots? They just lost somebody
They lost
else?
their
Gronkowski?
all-pro guard.
Gronkowski's there.
No, didn't Gronkowski test positive for something?
No, he's ready to play.
Okay.
He's injury concerned, but Tom Brady loves to throw to his tight ends. So I think
sorry, I was
Wright
just-
Spread it out.
is a
Yeah, he
guy
likes to spread
to
it.
go after. The last one is Philadelphia's tight end, Zach Ertz. He's another guy, 400 yards, 4 touchdowns last year. Big target. Chip Kelly always brings a crafty offense. So those 2 tight ends are guys that I will go after late. I'm going to stay away from a couple receivers. T.Y. Hilton being the first. I don't think he's going to have a repeat of last year in Indianapolis. Although I like Luck throwing the ball, I don't think he's going to perform at that level. The other one is Mike Wallace, receiver for the Miami Dolphins. I don't think he's going to have a repeat. So if you're taking a receiver, go after one of those top guys first to ensure that you get the catches you want. And my lock pick, I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to move it over to you now. Give us a sleeper, a keeper, and a guy to stay away from.
My sleeper, keeper, and guy to stay away from. Okay, my sleeper would be Emmanuel Sanders.
Okay.
He's going to look nice in Denver with Peyton Manning. He had a big year last year with Roethlisberger. Even with Brown making all the reception, again, 1,600 or something. I'm not sure the exact stat, but 1,600
yeah,
yards
he had a
receiving.
great year.
Yeah, amazing year,
Yeah.
right? And I think Emmanuel Sanders is just going to be that deep threat that Peyton Manning needs in Denver. He's got the speed, and that's my sleeper. I don't see him going in the first 5 rounds in any fantasy. I don't
I like
see
him as well. I
Yeah.
think anybody that's receiving the ball from Peyton Manning, and they spread it out quite well, and they get enough touchdowns that Emmanuel Sanders is definitely going to get his in Denver.
Yeah, my keeper is going to be Ed Lacy. I think Aaron Rodgers is the best quarterback in the NFL outside the pocket. I'm not saying in all around.
Okay.
I'm saying outside the pocket. He can scramble. He's a threat to run. He's got a lot of threats on the outside. And I think Ed Lacy's just a powerhouse out of Alabama. It's just he had a great rookie campaign.
He did.
And I think he's just going to have an encore season.
I agree. I like Ed Lacy as well. He's a projected top 10 guy. Definitely a workhorse back you can count on. And anytime you're behind Aaron Rodgers, you know you're going to get your touches and your numbers.
Yeah, he's a third down back as well.
Who?
My stay away from, I'm actually, I'm going to go out on a limb. A lot of people are probably going to dislike me for this pick, but I'm going to stay away from Russell Wilson.
Okay.
I feel that his only real threat's Percy Harvin. I don't feel Percy Harvin will stay healthy because, let's just say, history has a tendency to repeat itself,
does.
and the man has never made it a full season. When he's there, he performs. I believe even AP said he's the best all-around athlete he's ever met in his life. By AP, I mean Adrian Peterson.
Yep.
So that's a huge compliment coming from a monster of a player. But I just don't feel he's safe out there. I don't feel they have any threats wide out. And the NFL has shown year after year that a quarterback will not win a Super Bowl on his feet. So
All
I stay
right.
away from Russell
J-Mo.
Wilson.
Who you got?
My keeper?
Who's your keeper?
My keeper is me. My
You?
keep. No, well, yeah,
Okay.
me, yeah, of course. No, no, my keeper's Reggie Bush. I don't know. I like Reggie Bush, man. I think Reggie Bush is gonna have a big year. I think the Lions are gonna have a. I think, even though like the last couple years they're often showed that they're strong. For some reason, I think this year with the discipline of like Caldwell and bringing in Tate, I think they're going to have a really big offensive year, and I look for Reggie Bush. Maybe that's just me being a fan. Stay away from, I'd say marijuana. That's what I'd say, because you're getting suspended for a year for smoking weed, So I don't know. That's what I think about that. I was reading an article, and it's on my mind because I've seen that they said that you get a day for hitting a game suspension for hitting a quarterback, a 2-game suspension for hitting your wife, and a year suspension for smoking a blunt.
You know what? There is
You know what I
there
mean?
is some
Like-
truth to that. They're looking at reviewing it. It's marijuana is legal in a
That's-
couple of states.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
So-
the Gordon from
That's
Cleveland
who's my
there.
keeper. Boy.
Yeah, nice young. Yeah, he's done. A nice young
Gordon had about
receiver.
a
He was the
slew
best
of other
receiver last
charges,
year.
though. But he was awesome. And
He
okay,
was amazing.
He was asleep.
so who?
And now my sleeper, I guess it would be Gordon. I don't know. He's going to be doing a lot of sleeping. He ain't playing no football.
He
A lot
is
of
looking at
smoking weed and
maybe
sleeping.
playing in the CFL, although I think
You're
the
allowed to
Ricky
do
rule-
that? There's no
Ricky
restrictions
Williams'
to
rule
that?
will apply. I think they're going to try to jump through some holes, but
Yeah.
unlikely that Gordon will see the field. RJ?
My keeper, I'd have to go with McCoy
Okay,
from,
yeah, solid
Philly.
pick.
Great pick.
Chloe's sick.
And my sleeper, I was gonna sleeper.
Yeah, this was tough for me too. I had no clue who to say.
Or you can choose. You did your keeper. Who's a guy you would stay away from? A guy
I'd
that
stay away from RG3.
You would stay away. Okay, that's a good
I
pick.
don't think he's
Couple
gonna have a good
injuries.
year this
Yeah.
year. I think he's still injured, but he's trying to fight it off like he's not injured. He's still nagging him, I'd say. So I'd stay away from him.
Yeah, his coach was saying that too. I believe last year he was playing unprepared, ill-prepared.
Yeah, they kind of threw him into the
Yeah.
into the game there when he was still hurt, and that's dangerous for a guy's career. So
They also solved him as far as keeping him contained to the pocket as well, right? His
They
rookie
did.
year, he got a lot of rushing yards and touchdowns, you know, as a quarterback. And I think that teams have pretty much just, you know, found the cure for RG3 as
think
far
that-
as containing him to
A
the
sleeper
pocket.
to me would be Kaepernick too. I don't think a lot of people are going to
Colin Kaepernick.
pick him right away, but I think he's going to have pretty good numbers.
another guy that uses his feet. And San Francisco certainly picked up the offense to match their solid defense. All right, guys. Well, that's it for today. I want to thank all my guests for joining us. It was
Thanks
a
a lot,
great,
Mitch.
great
Appreciate
first
it.
show. I appreciate it. You can get at me on Twitter